so now we are going to finish our armholes. We have finished our neckline and our side seams are sewn. And so now we need to finish these. If you prefer the look of the band, like for your neckline, then all you need to do is measure this opening. So take your tape measure and just measure along here and then multiply that times 0.85, add your seam allowance, and then do it the exact same way that you did this band. The pattern has instructions for facings, and these are especially helpful if you're doing a jacket or something like that. But I'm still going to do it on my tank, and it's going to be good. So on these, you are going to cut 2 of your fabric and 2 as from their interfacing. And on this one, you're going to want to use a knit interfacing and pay attention to the grain line. Because on this, like the knit interfacing is going to look like this. And you see it's stretchy just like a knit. But along the grain line, it's not as stretchy. So you really do need to pay attention to these arrows and make sure you're cutting it out correctly. We use a woven interfacing if we're doing like the zipper or something like that. But whenever we're doing just like a knit facing on a garment, we're going to use knit interfacing. So that we want to get the kind that is fusible, and the fusible side is the rough side. And then the side that's going to face out it's not really soft, but it's definitely softer than the fusible side. So is what we're going to do is to take each facing piece. So you're going to have 4 total, 2 front and 2 back. And we're going to take each facing and we're going to interface it. And the interfacing, I mean, it's important because if you don't do it, then it can, that area can bag out. So we have to match. We're going to do it on the wrong side. So you're going to find, I'm going to put both of my wrong sides up. So this one goes with this one, and this one goes with this one. And when I press it on there, I use a pressing cloth so that I can press it with the interfacing facing towards me and not down. I can get it exactly where I want it. And it'll have instructions on your knit interfacing to properly do it. For a pressing cloth, I just use a random piece of quilting cotton. I usually have a lot of that laying around, and it serves as a double purpose because it irons my quilting cotton, and at the same time I'm pressing on this interfacing. So I'm going to press this down. I'm going to press it onto the front facings like I'm doing now, and then to the back facings. Okay, so now I have my facings interfaced, and I have my back facing and my front facing. And you can tell them apart because the front facing has this notch right here. So make sure you have marked that. And there's also both notches on this to tell you which sides to put together. So we're going to start with matching them right sides together. So I'm going to put this one on top of this one. And then I'm going to put this one on top of this one. So this will be for one armhole and this will be for the other. So I'm going to start by sewing the seams, this seam, and then I'm going to sew this one with a 3/8 inch seam allowance. Once I've done that, I'm going to open it up, and then I'm going to serge all around the outside. And I'm going to do that on both of them. So sew your short ends together, open up, and then finish with a serger the edges. If you don't have a serger, you can just use like a zigzag stitch or some kind of stitch like that to neaten on your serger. And okay, so I have finished sewing the short ends and then serging around the edge, and you're going to notice it doesn't like just lay flat. It's got shape to it, and you're going to find your marking for the front, and you're going to match that to the princess seam and put a clip there. And then you're also going to match up the side seam. And you're doing this all right sides together. You're going to match up the shoulder seam. Put a clip there. And we're going to do that on both sides. And then we're going to sew this entire armhole, arm side with this right side together. And then once we've sewn that, we're going to press it into the inside. Okay, so I finished sewing the facing to my arm side, and it looks like this. And now I'm going to flip it and turn it, push it to the inside. And once it is pushed to the inside, I'm going to give it a good press, and I'm going to sew all along the edge of that facing just to tack it down. So I've already sewn one of my arm facings, and I just wanted to give you some quick tips on how I made it not stressful, and that's Wonder Tape. So I used the Wonder Tape before I went to my machine, and I taped down everywhere that I wanted it to end up at, because if you just go over there without it taped down or pinned down really nicely, then it's going to shift. So you're going to take the Wonder Tape and you're going to apply it all along here. And then when you get to the machine, you're going to turn your shirt inside out so that you can sew it in the round. Okay, so I'm going to, on the second one, do the same thing. I'm going to apply Wonder Tape along the entire way. And yeah, it's a lot of Wonder Tape, but it's so worth it because you don't have any shiftiness and you end up with a really nicely sewn arm side.